Today, we're going to talk about the topic of how to optimize your natural testosterone levels using a root cause approach. Statistics today are pretty horrific in terms of like levels of testosterone in the average male, and they are declining. A lot of statistics will show a 50% reduction in average testosterone levels over the past 50 years. So this is a major problem, and we're going to talk about some of the symptoms related to it. So I've been in the industry for the past 13 years, and I've worked with over 1,500 clients. Over the past 5 years, we've dived a lot deeper into the kind of functional health aspect using blood work to understand the root causes of why testosterone levels drop in the first place, which is really the biggest question we have to ask. So the primary symptoms of low testosterone are things like low mood, low energy, fatigue, sleep issues, excess body fat, pretty much everything, because there are testosterone receptors on almost every single system in the body. Every single tissue has receptors to produce testosterone. Now, there are many things that can disrupt this process, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the 5 most common root causes that can disrupt this entire process. So, number 1 is stress. The body can never be primed for reproduction and safety at the same time. And this is super important because in that process of taking cholesterol to be converted into testosterone, it has to go through a process of being synthesized into pregnenolone. Pregnenolone, rather than being converted into testosterone, will actually be converted into more cortisol, adding to the stress load. So when it comes to addressing this, what we have to think about is how do we actually control that stress? What can we do? How can we change our lifestyle? What habits can we do to actually pull ourselves out of the fight flight and into a rest and digest state? This is going to be one of the most important things for addressing the root cause. The second most common root cause is gut issues. The gut is one of the most important aspects of health. And how this impacts testosterone production is firstly via a lack of nutrient absorption. We need to be able to absorb fats efficiently to be able to build cholesterol. If we're kind of getting a lot of bloating, if we're getting a lot of acid reflux, if we're getting a lot of loose stools, this is a sign that your gut is not in a good place and it needs to be addressed if we're going to get optimized and we're going to be able to absorb all of your nutrients really, and things like fats in order to actually provide you with the building blocks to produce your sex hormones through that cholesterol process. The other way gut issues can impact testosterone is really just from this overall stress that it creates on the body. So issues within the gut are one of the leading causes of systemic inflammation, which is one of the other points we're going to talk about. Systemic inflammation, as I'll go into in a minute, will impact every single physiological function. So addressing the gut health, making sure you're digesting food properly, is going to be absolutely essential in this process, not just from a nutrient standpoint, but also just to relieve the stress on your body, because when you're under stress, nothing really works. The third most common root cause is high aromatase activity. So aromatase is an enzyme that converts your testosterone into estrogen. A lot of the symptoms people expect to be related to low testosterone can actually be low estrogen, so we do need estrogen. However, when aromatase activity is high, then what happens is you have too much of your testosterone being converted into estrogen. In short, addressing that problem is going to be about dropping your body fat levels into a healthy metabolic place. It's going to be about reducing alcohol, and it's going to be about basically just removing the chemical exposure, in particular to things like tap water and plastics and things like this, which will all disrupt this process. The fourth is inflammation, which I've already touched upon a little bit. So inflammation affects every single process in the body. Higher levels of inflammation will affect not just this process of actually stimulation of the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, it will actually affect that because it actually causes damage, direct damage to the Leydig cells in the testes, which are responsible for producing testosterone. So it is super important that we control any systemic inflammation. Remember that inflammation can be caused anywhere from digestive issues, from metabolic issues, from alcohol. There can be many root causes of inflammation, but it's super important. You can even get high inflammation from overtraining, which is quite common for men. And that can lead to too much inflammation. They can't recover, and this just burns out your testosterone levels. The fifth and final most common root cause we're going to talk about today is poor sleep. The reason why this is so important for testosterone production is because most of your testosterone is going to be produced during deep sleep. So if your sleep habits, if your sleep routines are not very good, you're not getting enough deep sleep, you're viewing bright lights up until bedtime, you haven't got a consistent routine, maybe you're tossing and turning in the night, this is a sign that you are staying in your light sleep realms rather than dropping into, deep sleep where you're going to be able to produce testosterone naturally. And if you are not getting sufficient deep sleep, you're going to lean more towards producing stress hormones like cortisol and shutting off that testosterone axis, which is super important. But yeah, it's one of the most important things is just getting enough sleep in a consistent routine controlling light exposure before bed and in the mornings to help optimize that circadian rhythm, which is super important. And that's just going to give you the foundations for producing better hormones across the board and just controlling the balance of everything. If you feel like that process is something that may well be of interest to you, and you feel like you are ready to make a permanent change and to step into a new lifestyle where you are becoming the best possible version of yourself, and you want a system that gives you that clarity and confidence, then click the link that goes with this video. We do offer completely free functional health assessment calls where we can deep dive into your symptoms. So I will leave you that. Hopefully you got value from this. If you've got any questions on any of this, then, drop a comment or drop me a message, and, I'll do my best to cover any questions.